Oh, font, no, it was
Honored guests, welcome to today's ceremony. Please find your seats. Throughout the ceremony, there will be cues to stand or be seated will be given. Military guests in uniform should stand at attention for the national anthem, while civilian guests may put their hand over their heart during the national anthem. Please silence all cellular phones at this time. The ceremony will begin shortly. Good morning, and thank you for attending the Change of Command ceremony for the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron. Today we bid farewell to Lieutenant Colonel Timothy N. Neslony and welcome a new leader, Lieutenant Colonel Jared A. Freeman. Our ceremony today is a celebration of both continuity and change. Continuity in the form of a military tradition whose roots reach back through time to the legions of ancient Rome, and to the passing of signets that once symbolized the transfer of command from one to another. Continuity and change. As this great command says farewell to an honored leader and welcomes his successor through a ceremony that differs only in style, not substance, of those of the Romans. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is the commander, 67th Cyberspace Operations Group, Colonel Stacy L. Voorhees. Please stand for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem by Staff Sergeant Jeremy Tobin and invocation by Captain Molly Hayes.
Proceed with the ceremony.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming? And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Chaplain Hayes, please offer the invocation.
I invite you to pause for a moment of prayer or reflection according to your own faith tradition as I pray in mine. Holy One, thank you for your presence, especially during times of transition. We give thanks for the wisdom in this ceremony, fostering within us a sense of continuity and strength. Be with Lieutenant Colonel Neslony, whose command we celebrate today, and Lieutenant Colonel Freedom, whose command we acknowledge and confirm this day. May Lieutenant Colonel Neslony's dedication and work to continue to live on in the 91st. Continue to be with the Neslony family as they transition to serve others. May Lieutenant Colonel Freeman lead with integrity and compassion, always seeking the best for those under his command. Strengthen him in moments of difficulty and guide him through the complexities of his responsibilities. It is not easy to command, so we especially thank you for all who support him. Guide this mighty group of demon chasers as they continue to provide such vital skills to the fight. May they always execute their duties with pride as they dial them up and take them down. For our leadership here and everywhere, we ask wisdom and fortitude. For service members, courage and perseverance. For family and friends, peace and strength. As together we serve our great nation. Amen.
Honored guests, please be seated. Thank you, Chaplain Hayes. Thank you, Sergeant Tobin, for that wonderful rendition of the national anthem. We are honored to introduce the family members in attendance today, the spouse of the outgoing commander, Ms. Lauren Neslony, and their children, Jake and Haley. The mother and father of the outgoing commander, Lisa and David Neslony. The aunt and uncle of the outgoing commander, James and Jamie Lou. the brothers and sisters of the outgoing commander's spouse, Danny, Larry, Donna, Diana, and their spouse and children. And thank you to the friends and family of the incoming and outgoing commanders joining us online. Distinguished visitors attending today are the Commander, 67th Cyberspace Wing, Colonel John Picklesheimer. And his spouse, Michelle Picklesheimer. The Deputy Commander, 67th Cyberspace Wing, Colonel Nathan Osborne. The Commander, 318th Cyberspace Operations Group, Colonel Taramini N. A special welcome is also extended to all senior leaders, friends, colleagues, and especially the members of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron. Thank you for joining us today for this monumentous occasion. It is my pleasure to introduce the Commander, 67th Cyberspace Operations Group, Colonel Stacy L. Voorhees.
Colonel Waters, please put the formation at ease. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today on this great day for the 91st Cyberspace Operations Demon Chasers, the 67th Cyber Operations Group, and the 67th Cyberspace Wing. I'm grateful to be here today to share a little about these two great leaders joining me here on stage, the Demon Chasers, and more. But I definitely want to start off with a few thanks. To the Neslony family, Lauren, Jake, Haley. The military family takes a lot of Tim's timeshare, but thank you for the guidance and support and love you provide to him, and what a huge motivating factor that is for him on a daily basis. As you see, we had a full Neslony support crew with David and Lisa and aunts and uncles and brothers and sister-in-laws, but just representative of the love and commitment that we share between our blood family, our married family, our military family. So thank you. Thank you for being here today. To the Freeman family and support crew joining us online, thank you for your support and investment in Jared and for dialing in to celebrate this important milestone. Colonel Picklesheimer, Michelle, Colonel Osborne, Colonel N, Chief Perkins, thank you for your investment in these airmen and this mission and across our 67th Gunslinger Formation. I also understand we probably have a couple of DBs joining us online, Miss Abbott, General Wegeman, General Pyburn, Colonel Tyler. Again, thank you for your persistent investment in our missions and what we do on behalf of the nation. So senior leaders, fellow colonels, commanders, chiefs, fellow Big A airmen, mission partners, friends and family, today is a great day and a great milestone, and so let's talk about why we're really here. But before I do that, a special thanks to the team that's done a fantastic job in making the ceremony happen. Lieutenant Fontenot is the project officer. Sergeant Tobin, what a wonderful rendition of the national anthem, and again a reflection of the many talents the airmen across our formations possess. Chaplain Hayes, it's change of command season, and every ceremony you give a targeted message that just resonates so well. So thank you for serving our population. Lieutenant Colonel Waters, the Demon Chaser Formation, are here representing for the teams that are also operating behind the scenes and on the net right now. So in these days, we serve in an incredibly complex global security environment where there is an increasing need to be ever present as we evolve our information warfare and cyber capabilities. And we have a variety of teams and capabilities across the Joint Force, and the 67th Cyberspace Wing hosts many of them. But one of my favorite things about serving as the 67th Cyberspace Operations Group Commander is the immense talent and problem solving our airmen do every day to connect options with outcomes. And the Demon Chasers and the 91st and 001 have a proud and proven legacy of advancing information warfare. So a lot of what they do, we can't talk about on this net or in this forum. So I'd like to spend a few moments talking about the heritage and legacy. I think it's fitting because of the 91st cause ties to operating our original cyber weapon system. But it puts in context the legacy of pioneering innovation, adaptability, and enabling and effects that the Demon Chasers are still lauded for today. So when the squadron stood up over 100 years ago, the 91st roots were right here in San Antonio, originally established as the 91st Aero Squadron in 1917, where they saw combat in World War I on the Western Front, serving as an observation squadron, gathering information on the front lines and returning it to base. In World War II, the 91st Photographic Mapping Squadron enabled military commanders and planners with accurate charts and maps across Europe and South America through aerial photography. During the Korean War, the 91st Strategic Reconnaissance Squadron flew the largest number of different airframes, conducting ISR and psychological leaflet drops. As needs and technology continued to evolve, the 91st further served as a tactical reconnaissance squadron and intelligence squadron before its designation as a network warfare squadron in 2007 and its current cyberspace operations squadron designation since 2015. Tim, as I look at your time in command, you've repeatedly led your team to move forward, maintain calm, and provide clarity in a time of crisis. And we've had more than a few in the last 2 years. We live in a society where we tend to get singularly focused on the concerns in our local environment or what the algorithms in our social media feeds are pushing, but you have made sure the demon chasers were dialed in globally to sense and support crisis and develop options and deliver amazing effects in support of operators on the air and on the ground. You've brilliantly navigated a complex operating environment, working directly across the Air Force, Joint Staff, Office of Secretary of Defense, combatant commands, Joint Force Headquarters, Special Operations, and more, to make sure they knew how to call for fires and leverage the capabilities available to them. You've not only invested in repeatable and deliberate processes to train and develop the operators and analysts behind the growing mission areas, but you've empowered your leaders, sending briefers and LNOs forward to represent and educate and be in the room for that crisis planning, constantly showcasing their expertise to others, and then bringing that expertise and knowledge back into your formation in a constant cycle of making everyone better across our teams and our complex mission sets. Additionally, you and your team have had no shortage of hosting distinguished visitors for mission experience opportunities, where your airmen give our most senior leaders and decision makers just a glimpse into the technical prowess and process by which our Joint Force commanders receive effects. And you haven't just been focused on making your personnel more technically proficient, but you have been absolutely vested in the culture and developing the demon chasers as humans. This includes how we handle unplugging from a mission so humans can recharge cognitively and physiologically, with great examples such as working through incorporating the fortification and resiliency approaches that meet the demands of our 24/7 on-call teams, and communicating to leadership and others where we still have more to do in that area. You've implemented the first round of a sustainable readiness model, and we'll continue to evolve on that. But you've done a phenomenal job of showcasing the importance of human connection, such as providing opportunities for airmen to show their skills, like getting some sunshine and watching the ingenuity as your teams build cardboard boats and stride across the water, whether powered by human paddling or doggy paddling. I learned earlier during our pre-session that you apparently have a background in this, and maybe Darcy inspired you with some paper airplane approaches. So again, how we evolve that to our current environment. As technology continues to advance, you've made sure airmen have an appreciation for classic technologies, such as retro gaming systems and cathode ray televisions. And for Lauren's sake, I'll just leave the rest of that story there. Tim, service to our nation and serving in the cyber mission force is a challenging environment where there is always more work to be done. And maybe in 25 years, we can talk more openly about what you and your team truly did in the last 2 years when it isn't classified. We'll share a few of those accolades during the decoration presentation, but I want to foot stomp that there are no shortage of accomplishments under your command as you've empowered our most competitive advantage, our people, to further ready airmen and ready teams to develop, execute, and employ effects today and provide options for tomorrow. The 001 brand was already well known and esteemed and continues to be. It's also resulted in an impressive list of awards for your squadron and its member under your command. And your leadership set the conditions for that success and recognition. But I'm pretty sure it's the personal moments that you're going to carry forward with you. Tim, it's an emotional day as you give up the guidon, but know with great pride that you have led and inspired these airmen. There are few other squadron commanders who can say their airmen have made such significant impacts across so many geographic combatant commands simultaneously, and work through no shortages of challenges to do that. That purpose and connectedness to the mission is motivating to these professionals, but your personal commitment to their growth as leaders and humans and investment in their families on this military and life journey has been a true difference maker. Thank you for making a difference here, and our 16th Air Force, AF Cyber, and Joint Force Headquarters Cyber Air Force Enterprise will continue to benefit from your knowledge and experience in your next role. As the 91st sends off one great leader, they are bringing another fantastic leader online. Jared Freeman, congratulations. You are the absolute right leader to command the 91st in this time and space and this chapter. You have an incredible track record across a variety of mission sets, from human performance, behavioral influence analysis for the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, to Chief of Influence Operations for the PACAF Air Operations Center, a lot of time in special operations, deployments to CENTCOM, overseeing advanced research efforts, and more. All as the Air Force has established and continues to robust our approach to the 14F Information Operations career field. Furthermore, you're already a well-known quantity across the wing and have been an immense contributor to the squadron, group, and wing's collective success over the last 3 years as your time as the 390th Cause Director of Operations, and most recently as our Wing A3, with wide visibility and personal investments on the importance of readiness, training, and employment. As you said, readiness was your professional life last year, and now you get to be side by side with the Big A Airmen making that mission happen. You've worn the command pin before, so you know commanding airmen is a privilege and an honor. The command portion of your job is an important slice of legal authorities and responsibilities, but I hope you find this command to be exciting, rewarding, and an opportunity for personal and professional growth as you're serving in the fight every day with the Demon Chasers. I'm excited to see how your experience and perspective as an information operations officer and outstanding leader will advance the 91st COS Airmen personally and professionally, and enable them across a variety of operational effects to drive information warfare outcomes through cyber effects anytime, anywhere. The 67th COG is also known as the Rough Riders, and we take that mantra from Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders of around 1898, where they brought in a group of about 1,000 individuals from all walks of life, different forms of education, to serve as part of that first U.S. all-volunteer cavalry formation. And they were willing to take any airman, like any man at the time. They didn't take women, but see, we've grown a little bit. With the talents to answer the call for their nation. And these airmen have absolutely answered the call for their nation every day. Tim and Jared, congratulations to you both. Thank you for your commitment and the opportunity to share just a little bit about what the Demon Chasers embody, and at the top, just very top level, what they provide globally for our joint force and nation. It's a privilege to be your commander, and Chief Perkins and I are humbled by the opportunity to serve with your squadron and its teams who have answered this call for service. To the audience online and in here, thanks again for being here and recognizing these teammates. Now let's move forward with formally recognizing Lieutenant Colonel Neslony's accomplishments. Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Citation to accomplish the award of the meritorious Attention to orders. Citation to accomplish the award of the Meritorious Service Medal for 4th Oak Leaf Cluster to Lieutenant Colonel Timothy N. Neslony for meritorious service 29 June 2022 to 19 July 2024. Lieutenant Colonel Timothy N. Neslony distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron, Joint Base San Antonio-Lackland, Texas. Lieutenant Colonel Neslony led a 140-member squadron delivering around-the-clock combat support for 7 combatant commanders, contributing to a quarter of all Department of Defense counterterrorism operations. Specifically, he oversaw the execution of 558,000 fires against 150,000 targets, resulting in the elimination of 68 violent extremists, the rescue of 2 hostages, and the evacuation of 142 Americans from embattled countries. Additionally, Lieutenant Colonel Neslony drove the unit's first major weapon system upgrade in over a decade, revamping mission qualification training and expanding capacity tenfold. He enabled United States Cyber Command responses to the Israel-Hamas crisis, attacks on merchant vessels in the Red Sea shipping corridor, and during 2 armed uprisings. His leadership was crucial to the 91st COS, earning the 2022 Headquarters Air Force and 2023 Air Combat Command Best Small Cyber Unit of the Year awards, and a highly effective wing inspection rating. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Neslony reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Oh. Parade rest. It is my pleasure to introduce the commander, 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy Neslony.
So it certainly feels surreal to be up here, and as honored as I am to receive that decoration, I will first and foremost say that that was not me. That was all the amazing men and women of the 91st COS Demon Chasers. So we tried to do this last year, 2 years ago, if you'll recall. Despite our best efforts and my plans, John Hines' plans, Colonel Picklesheimer's plans, and Mr. Hoskins' plans, Lauren, the kids, and I all ended up getting slimed by COVID. I'm happy to report that this time around, we've all 4 got a clean bill of health, so I already consider today's ceremony to be a smashing success compared to last time. So before we get started, I want to say thank you to several folks, Lieutenant Fontenot, Tech Sergeant Del Heron, Tech Sergeant Hopkins, Master Sergeant Sawyer, and everybody else that had a part in putting on today's ceremony. Thank you. Ceremonies like this are a heavy lift, and we very much appreciate your efforts to making it happen. To Chaplain Hayes, ma'am, thank you for the words of wisdom. And Tech Sergeant Tobin, Staff Sergeant Tobin, I just promoted you. Congratulations. Thank you for the national anthem. Just beautiful, beautiful rendition. Let's give him a round of applause. Friends, family, coworkers, distinguished guests, thank you all for being here today. It's an honor to have you. To my family, I'm so happy that you guys could be here today. For many of you, this is your first military ceremony, so I'm so happy that you could celebrate today with us on this momentous occasion. To the First Lady of Texas, Ms. Cecilia Abbott, ma'am, Lauren and I feel so fortunate to have you online today and to have your support over the last 8 years. To my ROTC instructor, Lieutenant Colonel retired Darcy Maloney. It feels like just yesterday I was sitting in your class, that awkward kid who couldn't quite figure out the coordinated arm swing. We've come a long way since then, so thank you, ma'am. Colonel Voorhees, Chief Perkins, welcome back to the 67th COG. And ma'am, thank you for your confidence in my leadership, and thank you for always having my back when I need you. To my amazing kids, Jake and Haley, thank you for doing this journey with me. I'm so proud of you. You're going to do great at LSU and at Texas A&M, and I'm proud of your accomplishments. And most importantly, to my lovely wife, Lauren. Those of you that know Lauren know that she is truly the heart and the soul of families in the 91st. So 2 years ago, when we talked about command, we talked about setting a priority to care for our total force airmen and families. We had a vision to foster friendships, support each other, and every member of the squadron, and to build lasting bonds. And that's exactly what she did. So over 2 years, she helped plan and execute more than 20 family and spouse events, 2 military spouse appreciation brunches and mission briefs, a month of a military child fun day event, 23 Feed the Crews, for all the airmen who were in the squadron working shift work and couldn't take part at the club with us that day. For all of those contributions, as well as some others to the community, it's no wonder that Governor Greg Abbott awarded you with the Yellow Rose of Texas Commission. Congratulations. You absolutely excelled in bringing together our airmen and families, and I couldn't have done command without you, so thank you. But my main message today is for the men and women of the 91st COS. It's for the demon chasers. So over the last several months, we've talked about the theme of organizations are the stories that they tell themselves. I'm going to tell you what I think the story that the demon chasers tell themselves, and that's this. By taking care of airmen and families first, we can build truly legendary teams who will time and time again rise to the occasion, save American lives, and build lasting memories that last a lifetime. I thought today what I would do is just really share with you some of my most memorable moments in the squadron, some of the funny moments, and some of my proudest moments. So the first one is qualifying on the weapon system. So I got the privilege of doing that with Colonel Picklesheimer, and I'm telling you, I had this thought that I would qualify on the weapon system, and I would be in the trenches with my guys and do the same mission that they do, and try to live that life and walk a mile in their shoes. So everybody was pumped. They're like, hey, we got this guy. He's a CNODP graduate, prior access operator, got some history with Cyber Command and some intelligence community organizations. And so I walked in. I took my eval. I was confident. I felt good. I thought I crushed it, right? And I look over at the Master Sergeant, and he tells me, he says, sir, in this squadron we have a standard, and you didn't meet it. I was crushed. Like I couldn't believe it. But you know, I walked out of the room a little bit dazed. And I remember when the door to the training room opened, and half of the squadron is standing outside of the door, and they have a cake. And on this cake, it says, "Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Neslony," right? And so I open the door, and I see one of the master sergeants, and he's like, and I was like, I didn't pass. And I could see the look of shock on my airmen's faces when I told them that. But without missing a beat, my lovely secretary, Deborah, reaches over, she grabs the ribbon that says, "Congratulations, Lieutenant Colonel Neslony," and she takes it off the cake. She says, "It's okay, sir. I know what'll make you feel better. We got you a cake." And so, though that experience was humbling for me, it honestly was a growth moment for both me and the squadron. It showed that it's okay to fail. It's not about the failure. It's how you pick yourself up and you move on from that failure, right? And so for me, I hit the books, right? I recognized my deficiencies. I addressed those. And when I went into my next evaluation, I crushed it. I got a Q1. And so I was walking around the squadron, high-fiving folks with my hands over, my head, saying, "Yes, I passed." We did the bell ringing ceremony. And I walked onto the ops floor, and I high-fived the crew commander, and they're pumped, and they're like, "Hey, sir, later on we've got a mission. Do you want to take part in that?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And so I came in a little later. I did that mission, and I went home that night, and I saw something that I had a very small part in contributing to on headline news. And that's when I knew there is something special about this squadron. And that's not a unique thing. Those of you that know that literally happened dozens of times during my time in command. One of my proudest moments, and honestly the moments that I think define the airmen of the 91st COS, and quite frankly, one of my proudest moments in command was a mission that we did last year. And though I can't talk about the details of that, what I can tell you is that it was a very important and very dire situation. And at the 11th hour, everything fell apart. Everything. And I walked in on night shift, and I handed a sticky note to one of my master sergeants. And I said, "I got nothing." I said, "I need you to figure this out." I gave him the number to another unit, and I didn't know if things were gonna fail when I went to bed that night, right? But when I came in the morning, there were 3 airmen from that squadron that were on a plane flying to San Antonio with the equipment that they needed to make that mission happen. And I'm going to tell you, any single person in the 91st could have not risen to the occasion that day, and things would have fallen apart. And nobody would have held it against us, because realistically, what role does a cyber squadron have in a crisis like this, right? But I will tell you that everybody rose to the occasion that day. And the mission that we contributed to ended up saving 76 American lives. One of the proudest moments of my career. Huge round of applause for these guys. We had another mission earlier this year. Again, incredibly complex, high pressure, White House level visibility, and everything went off like clockwork. Textbooks application of what we do. And I remember going to the Heritage Room afterwards, and let me tell you, it was the busiest, like 9 p.m. I've seen in the squadron in a long time. There's probably 80 people there, right? And we went to the Heritage Room, and I remember popping that bottle of champagne with the folks off duty, and we said a toast, and I get chills thinking about that moment, but just such an incredible moment. And I loved all of the events. I loved getting to know the people on a personal level. We loved bringing people meals and meal trains when they needed help, celebrating births, significant life events, video game tournaments, and the pride of knowing that I helped increase the box TV per capita ratio in the 91st COS. And there were summer bashes, cardboard boat races, and so much more. And some of my favorite memories were sitting around a table 23 times to share a meal with my crew. Sharing stories, building camaraderie. This is where bonds were made. This is where trust was created. We shared each other's exciting moments, and we shared each other's struggles. We were family. And what I will leave you with today is that serving you, or serving with you, and leading you was the honor of a lifetime. Thank you for trusting me to lead you, and allowing Lauren and I to share life with you. I can genuinely say that I love each and every one of you, and that I will continue to miss you, miss seeing you in the squadron every day. But I will tell you that I am so happy to know that Lieutenant Colonel Jared Freeman is taking the reins, because he's absolutely gonna crush it. Jared, Lauren and I want to wish you the very best in command. I know you're going to do great things, and I look forward to watching from afar.
At this time, the men and women of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron will render their final salute to Lieutenant Colonel Neslony as Commander, 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron.
Hold up. Demon chasers! Gotta love, take 'em down!
At this time, the men and women of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron would like to present a bouquet of flowers to Ms. Lauren Neslony and thank you for your support of your spouse and the command over the last 2 years. The ceremony you are about to witness is the briefest, yet most significant of our military customs. All authority and responsibility are vested in the hands of the commander, a chain unbroken to the Commander-in-Chief, President Joseph R. Biden, Jr. Today, when Lieutenant Colonel Neslony relinquishes command of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron and Lieutenant Colonel Freeman assumes command of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron, all authority and responsibility transfers to him immediately. The passing of the squadron's guidon culminates a series of significant achievements under Lieutenant Colonel Neslony's leadership, vision, and guidance, and reflects great confidence in the continuance of those achievements to come under the command of Lieutenant Colonel Freeman. Honored guests, please stand for the official change of command.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Department of the Air Force, Headquarters, 67th Cyberspace Operations Group, Joint Base San Antonio-Lackland, Texas. Special Order Number GI-24-13, dated 26 June 2024. By order of the Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Timothy N. Neslony will relinquish command of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron, Joint Base San Antonio-Lackland, Texas, to Lieutenant Colonel Jared A. Freeman, effective 19 July 2024. Signed, Colonel Stacy L. Voorhees, Commander, 67th Cyberspace Operations Group.
Command, my relinquished command.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the new commander, 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron, Lieutenant Colonel Jared A. Freeman.
All right, thank you and good morning. Muddy, thanks for already putting the formation at ease. We talked about that yesterday, just in case I forgot. He was going to be loud and proud and do it anyway. So to the distinguished guests, partners, and all demon chasers, past and present, thank you for taking time out of your day to share with us in this sacred tradition. I would like to join Colonel Voorhees and Tim in thanking all the members who planned and executed this ceremony, including those visible participants, those in formation, and to everyone who worked behind the scenes. Thank you. To my family and friends, thank you for being an integral part of my life throughout my military career. I'm lucky to have a great group of people that I rely on, and I count myself very lucky. To my girls, I am thankful for you, and I love you. Colonel Voorhees, ma'am, thank you for the honor and the opportunity to lead the Demon Chasers. I appreciate in advance your leadership, your personal mentorship to me, and your advocacy of the Demon Chasers. Splash, Tim, thanks for continuing the rich tradition of innovation and mission expansion during your command tour. The praise and accolades received today are well earned, and as you described are no doubt in large part due to the great work of the folks in the crowd and all the Demon Chasers that are in formation right now. I also appreciate your willingness to bring me into the fold these past 8 months as you work to ensure strong continuity of all core missions the Demon Chasers execute. Good luck on your next adventure right down the road, and I'll probably be calling you. I'd also like to thank a few key leaders who've made a profound impact on my professional outlook and how I lead today. First, to the two group commanders while I was a squadron DO, Colonel Lauren Corshane, Colonel John Picklesheimer. To the previous wing commander and wing deputy commander while I was the wing A3, Colonel Sean Kern and Colonel Mike Winter. And then to the 375th COS commander and 390th COS commander while I was a DO, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Lee and Lieutenant Colonel Lauren Peterkin. Over the past 3 years, these leaders have invested their time, their experience, and their mission and leadership knowledge into making me a better leader of Rough Riders and Gunslingers from my time as a coyote. Up in your heat? No? Okay. To my time as the Wing A3, and now as Demon Chaser 1. To the members of the 91st, our nation's Demon Chasers, thank you for accepting me as the newest member of the team. Your actions and impact to our nation's security are profound. And while those details will remain veiled, known only to quiet professionals like yourselves, rest assured that our nation's senior leaders count on us to carry out our responsibilities in support of our nation's defense. In that vein, I implore all of us to embrace our history, one of innovation and mission expansion, and to begin writing the next chapter. I look forward to getting to know each of you and serving you as your commander. All policies, processes, and procedures remain in effect until further notice. Thank you.
At this time, the men and women of the 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron will render their first salute to Lieutenant Colonel Freeman as Commander, 91st Cyberspace Operations Squadron.
Congratulations, sir. Can't wait to get to work. Order. Demon Chasers!
In keeping with Air Force tradition, we will conclude today's ceremony with the singing of the Air Force song. While it is customary for Air Force members to stand, we invite all of our guests to join us in standing for the Air Force song and the departure of the official party and distinguished guests. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Here they come, singing to me our thunder. Adam boys, give 'em the gun, give 'em the gun. Down we dive, spouting our flames from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame, we go down in flames. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Honored guests, this concludes today's ceremony. Please proceed through the receiving line to welcome Lieutenant Colonel Freeman and join us in a reception here in the Chief's Room.